Welcome to the Estate Professionals Mastermind Podcast, a podcast for estate professionals who earn more, work less, and make a huge difference in their communities. If you get value out of this free content, be sure to check out probatemastery.com, where you can get live classes, access to weekly coaching, and valuable courses. To learn more, visit probatemastery.com. Now let's jump into this week's content. All right, welcome in. Okay, this is the Estate Professionals Mastermind. We do this every Tuesday. This is our free weekly coaching call. For those of you that are here, I want to welcome you all in. If you're brand new, welcome in. We try to show up here every week on Tuesday, 2 o'clock Eastern Time, 11 Pacific, and kind of go through some questions and answers, some topics that you guys might want to discuss, all centered in the probate and the estate niche. For those that had showed up last week trying to join the coaching call, you have my apologies for not doing it. This is the first week in a long time that last week was the first week in a long time that we weren't able to do that. I was out of town and my internet was just complete garbage. I was in the mountains and I couldn't get anything going. So we sent that last minute email out, just letting everyone know that we couldn't do the call last week. But outside of last week, we'll be back every week for a while. I do have a week coming up later in April where I'll probably need to get a replacement coach to lead the call. I'll be at a conference doing a talk on probate and specifically conversation strategies and structures. So I want to talk to you guys today a little bit about our habits and getting some habits that are going to lead to success in the probate and the estate space. Obviously, I'm here for you guys. So if you have questions or successes that you'd like to talk about, or even if you're brand new and just say, hey, how do I get started in probate? That's a little bit of what we'll talk about today. So I do want to encourage you guys to go down to the bottom of your Zoom window. If you hover over the bottom, there's a little react button that's going to pop up. On my screen, it looks like a heart. If you click that heart or react button, there's a bar that says raise your hand. So if you'd like to ask a question, or maybe you've had some success or some experience and you want to share that success or share that experience, even if it wasn't successful, see if you can get a little bit of coaching on how you might do it differently, raise your hand. I want to hear from you guys. Before we get to questions, though, I would kind of like to talk with you guys about about something that I've been experiencing with a lot of the people that I'm coaching right now. And there's so many folks that are looking at this mountain of probate data and probate leads that they have and going, I don't know how I can get through this whole list. Either I don't know how to get through the whole list, or I'm a little bit nervous about carving off an hour a day, 2 hours a day, 3 hours a day. I'm nervous about carving that much time off because I'm busy chasing and trying to manage my business. And I just want to encourage you all that you don't have to build the prospecting game into this huge mountain. We were talking with some folks earlier today about how instead of trying to carve off 2 or 3 hours when they've been completely unaccustomed to prospecting in their business, why not take 5 leads today, 5 leads. That's it, 5. Carve off 15 minutes this morning and call through those 5 leads. Now, we all know that every now and then you get someone on the phone and they'll talk to you for 15 minutes. So the idea here is, if you're going to do this, let the conversations go where they're going to go. But for the most part, if I'm going to make 5 dials today, I'll get through those 5 dials comfortably inside of 15 minutes. That's a win. Do you guys have any idea how much success you can have with just 15 minutes a day, especially when your competition, when the other agents, the other investors in your marketplace probably aren't making a single call? Most of them get completely stuck. So 15 minutes a day. If you want to compound this, take out of those 5 dials that you've made this morning or this afternoon, whenever you're going to do it, out of those, take the 4 people that did not answer the phone. So generally speaking, 80% of your leads won't answer on any given round that you call them. So about four people, five dials, four people will have not engaged with you on the phone. Why don't you call them again in an hour? So in an hour, carve off another 10 minutes, another 15 minutes, and call the four people that didn't answer the first time. So 10 or 15 minutes at a time. That's all I'm asking. Out of those four calls, those people now have seen your number twice. How inclined do you think they're going to be to think that it must be an important call if they've seen your number twice? They're likely going to engage with you, much more likely. So you'll probably get another answer out of that round of calls. So now, out of the four people that you called in an hour, someone else will have answered the phone. And then you go about your day, give them an hour, give them 2 hours, and the three people that didn't answer that time, go call them. Call them again. Three people. That's it. Just three people. It'll take you 5, 10 minutes. Okay. If somebody answers, it might take you 20 minutes because you've had a conversation. But this is a way that I use very frequently when I'm overwhelmed with the number of leads that I have. This is a strategy that I use to chunk down the activities that I want and build a real habit. I don't need to build a 3 hour a day prospecting habit. Do I want one? Yes, absolutely, I want one. What I need to do is just get over my fear, get over my procrastination of calling five people. If I can successfully call five people at a time, I've got a huge win. If then I can go call the four people that didn't answer a second time and the three people that didn't answer after that a third time, I'm going to start to form really good habits. If you do that every day for a week, 2 weeks, maybe you add a sixth or seventh number each day after that. And before long, you just add and you add and you add. And before long, you've got the habit, you've got the consistency of the prospecting that you need. You're adding people, you're expanding that initial call time. And because people are seeing your number, if they didn't answer, because they're seeing your number multiple times in a day, in a short-ish period of time, they're going to be much, much more likely to engage with you on the phone. I just finished a video, and it's kind of a reshoot of the how to close multiple probate deals a month. So on the website, it's closed two probate deals every month. So I just did a reshoot of that where I talk about the importance of getting about 50% of your leads to engage with you on the phone. That's my goal with any lead list is I want 50% of my leads, of those that file probate in my county, to answer the phone and engage with me. And that does not happen if I call everyone one time and leave them alone. It doesn't happen. If you get 100 leads a month, 100 records a month, I want to call through those 100 people 7, 8 times in that first month, 7 or 8. If you do that, especially if you kind of pack those 7, 8, 9 times into a couple of days, your likelihood of getting half of them on the phone is really high. But it's almost nothing. You have almost no likelihood of getting a high percentage if you call everyone once and then they don't see your number again for another 3 or 4 weeks. So if you're going to call someone, go ahead and make a serious attempt. Call them now. Call them in an hour. Call them in 2 hours. Maybe call them again this afternoon. I'm not the type of person that generally answers an unknown number, but if I see a number pop up on my phone right now, and then in 15 minutes it's back up again, and in 30 minutes it's back up again, am I going to call them back? Almost definitely. It's going to feel very important to me. They must need me. So I'm going to engage with them. Where if I just saw that missed number one time, no chance that I'm going to engage. So I just want to encourage you guys, maybe chunk your prospecting down into shorter blocks of time. It's less oppressive, it's less intimidating to you if you're not used to prospecting or if you're not currently in the habit of controlling your day like that. All right. So form habits. Let me go to Ed. Ed, I've got, you've just popped your hand up. What do you have for us today?
Would you try texting them also?
Text. Yeah. So I generally, and this changes. So what I give you right now is certainly something that adjust and flex a little bit. So for me, if I'm going to call you today, I'm going to call you. You didn't answer. I'm going to call you 3 times. And on that third call, I'm going to leave a voicemail. No text, just a voicemail. It's going to be relatively generic. So, this is regarding the estate of Jane Doe. I think your personal representative. Could you give me a call at this number? So, not what I'm offering, not what I'm calling for, but it is about an estate. Okay. Um, in a day or two, I'm going to call you another potential up to 3 times again in a day or two. Probably not tomorrow because let's just pretend that I only picked 5 numbers and I've got 100 total leads and I only picked 5. So tomorrow or the day after, I'm going to go back to the original 5 or really probably the original 2 or 3 that still didn't engage with me that day. And I'm going to do them another 3 times. Another 3 times. At the end of that third call, so now they've gotten 6 total calls from me. At the end of the third call, I'm going to leave a voicemail and I'm going to drop a text. So I always leave voicemails on the last call of a day. I never leave a voicemail if I have 1 or 2 or 3 more calls coming up to them that day. It's always the last call of the day. They've ignored me. I'm going to go ahead and leave a voicemail, kind of tell them why they need to call me back. So generally, the second day that I call someone 3 times, if they haven't answered, they get the voicemail and a text. Okay. Um, let's get real. Sometimes they just don't want to talk to you. It doesn't mean that they don't have a need. It just means you haven't found the code. You haven't cracked the code for that individual person. So I'm usually going to leave that person alone here for a little while. I'm not going to call them again the next day or the next day, the day after that. I'm going to give them a 5, 6, 7 day break, and then I'm going to call again. And maybe that second full week later, when I call 2 or 3 times, I don't leave a voicemail. I just send a text. So, as a general rule of thumb, I typically leave more voicemails than I do texts. But if I am trying someone cold and maybe I've taken that lead and I've called them 3 or 4 times um, days in a month, so 3 or 4 days over that first full month, I'm gonna probably leave drop 2 texts and probably 3 voicemails. So I want to be really clear when I say that I'm calling them 3 or 4 days, it's not one call per day. Three, it's at least 3 calls per day, 3 or 4 separate days over that month. And I start to space it out. If I've now made 12 attempts at reaching you over the course of a month, the definition of insanity is what? Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. I'm not going to say don't call, but I now kind of know that the formula for that person is probably not heavy, incessant phone calls. So I'm gonna space my calls out a little bit further and further apart. Next time I call, I might only call 1 time in a day, and I might give them 3 or 4 weeks in between. At that point, I think it's completely fine to start mailing to that person or potentially door knocking. So I want to start mixing those things in. Some of you guys are going to mail from day one. Personally, and this is just personal, I don't want anyone going, Bruce said that I need to wait to mail. Okay. In my market, I don't mail anyone until I've called them for 2 months. If they've ignored my calls, my voicemails, my text messages for 2 months, I go, I'm probably not going to get this person on the phone. I might, I really might, but they haven't answered me yet. They haven't called me back yet. So at this point, I'm going to mix direct mail into the mix. Okay. And I might only call once a month at that point. And then I'll alternate voicemail one time, text message another time, voicemail, text message, and I'll let that go for 5, 6 months. As I mix mail in, and this is what you guys are going to hear. And I just had a agent that got this a couple of days ago. He had called someone multiple times. He'd followed this plan. About a month and a half in, he sent his first letter, And the person that he'd been calling for a month and a half called him back and said, "Hey, yeah, I was getting your phone calls. I was getting your voice message. I thought it was just spam. I really wasn't interested in talking to you, but I just got your letter and I realized that you actually do help with the things that I need." So he admitted I was ignoring your phone calls, but I got your letter and I think it is relevant. So that's why I want you guys to also do mail. For me, I don't do mail until I've called. Why? Cost. I'm going to send 5 or 6 letters very frequently to someone. Through the phone, I'd like to scrub my list, cut my list in half through phone conversations before I start spending money on mail. That's just my personal preference. All right. Does that help, Ed?
Yes.
Any
Yep.
follow up? If not, it's good. Okay. Hey guys, I'm butting in here with a quick ask. If you're getting value out of this coaching today, I want to invite you to check out my Probate Mastery trainings over at www.probatemastery.com. Probate Mastery is for you if you're an agent or an investor that wants to work with motivated sellers that have inherited real estate that they don't need and in many cases can't afford. These sellers are more appreciative, willing to trust your expertise, and less likely to nickel and dime you over commission or price. Why is that? They're often in the middle of a complex probate or an estate administration process, and this means that real estate is very often a burden on them, and they simply need the help. Inside of Probate Mastery, I teach you exactly where to source your leads, how to establish value, and offer your service in a way that quickly makes you, as the professional, your market's expert in the probate space. If you want to know a little bit more, go over to www.probatemastery.com. Hope to see you guys inside of the community. Thanks. Let's go to Michael. You're on mute. Go ahead and mute yourself.
Sorry about that. Can you give us an example of the voicemail and maybe the text as well?
Sure, yeah. So voicemail, and for those that have heard my voicemail scripts before, guys, bear with me because it always changes. So voicemail number one, um, Michael, listen, my name's Bruce Hill. I don't think we know each other. I've called you a couple of times today. Please forgive me. This is about the estate of Jane Smith. My number is da 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 da. Give me a call. So kind of generic, not getting into a lot of detail. Sometimes I don't even mention the estate. Sometimes I just the way I feel that day, I might not even mention the estate. I leave it super vague and generic. You don't call me back. 2 days, 3 days later, I call you again. You don't answer. 15, 20 minutes later, I call again. You don't answer. An hour later, I call you again. You don't answer. I go, "Michael, I am so sorry to hound you. I'm not sure if you know who I am. My name's Bruce Hill. This is regarding the estate of Jane Smith. Listen, I don't want to keep bothering you. It's kind of important that we speak. Could you give me a call? Here's my number." A week later, you still haven't called me back. I'll call you once. 30 minutes later, I call you again. 2 hours later, I call you again. "Michael, so sorry. I left you a message last week. I'm not sure if you got it. If you're like me, you probably don't listen to voice messages that often. My name is Bruce Hill. I own a company in the area called Triangle Estate Solutions. Essentially, what we do is we help with the probate process. I have a ton of free resources that'll help guide someone through the estate administration or probate process. I just wanted to offer to send you a packet of information that you could hold on to as you got through it. Would you do me a favor and call me back? Let me know if I've got the wrong person or if I could send these resources, no obligation. I'd like to do it. Just need to know where to send it. Here's my number. All right. So every time I leave a voicemail, I'm expanding the message a little bit. As far as text goes, when I've done text, and admittedly, I don't do a lot of text messages. I really don't. I think it's a little bit more risky to text someone that hasn't asked for a text or engaged with you than it is to call them. But if I'm going to text, I'm going to keep it really short. So my text might be, "Hey, I don't know if I have the right number. Is this Michael?" Okay. maybe a minute or two later, if this is Michael, this is about the estate of Jane Smith. I left you a voicemail. Can you call me? Just pretty vague and generic. Later, a month in, a couple of weeks in, they've gotten a few voice messages. I might get a little bit more detailed in that text, but for the most part, if I'm sending texts, I'm keeping them short and very brief, kind of trying to get to the point, just trying to get them to give me an affirmative response or a callback. All right, does that work? Cool.
Perfect. Thank you.
Um, Matthew Price, I get a ton of business from real estate brokers pushing and pushing to sell real estate. They come to you for a solution and they get it. So that's perfect. Everybody else, including a lot of you guys, call. Hey, this is about the estate of so and so. I was wondering about the house. Do you need to sell it? They don't know yet. I want you guys to put yourself in the position of someone that's going through probate. What does it mean when they're going through probate? It probably means that they have someone that they were very, very close to, probably the closest to a relative, a spouse, a parent, a sibling, a child who's died. Um, many times, many times, and here's what we do know. We do know that 67% of real estate that is inherited, 67% is free and clear. So you're grieving. Someone has passed away. Not only are you grieving, but you're navigating a brand new legal process called probate. Brand new. There's court dates. There's properties that need to be preserved. You got to cut the grass. You got to clean things out. You've got your siblings in your ear. You've got paperwork. You've got all these things piled on you. There's some cash in the bank and a house that does not have a mortgage payment in a lot of situations. And if somebody calls you and says, hey, this is about the estate, do you want to sell the house? What's your response going to be? Now, before you say, F you, that's not the normal response. That's an occasional response, but that's not normal. The normal response is, I have no idea. Or in some cases, let me just get this stranger off the phone. No, we're going to keep it. Could you be lying through your teeth? Absolutely. It's totally normal and I say acceptable for them to lie to me if I charge in going after real estate. Um, I, I, you guys may judge me, but I would lie to you if you came in and I'm going through a situation like that and all you want to know is about the real estate. I'd be like, nope, gonna keep the house. It might be sitting empty with a for sale sign in it. I'm not telling you the truth. More likely, people are gonna say, we don't know yet. Why do they not know yet? They haven't had those discussions with their family members. They're doing other things. They don't have an urgent pain point around the real estate right now. Why? Because it's probably free and clear, or they have money in the estate to pay the mortgage for a few months while they deal with other things. So we don't know is extremely normal. Like Matthew was saying, if you go in offering other estate based services, you're going to make a lot more headway than just charging in for the real estate. Now, I want you to develop the skill of being able to bring real estate up, but that's a skill set. It's a way to shift the conversation once you've gotten some rapport and some dialogue and you're offering some assistance. And once you develop that skill set and you get the rapport, you'll get the truth on the real estate. Um, I used to call, hey, this is about the estate of Jane Doe. Listen, my condolences. Could I ask, as probate gets further along, are you going to sell the real estate? And I'd get a big percentage, probably like 80%. And I've tracked this with students as well. So somewhere in the 70, 80% range that say, nope, we're going to keep the house. And one day I called someone in my neighborhood and I asked that question. Nope, we're going to keep the house. And I'm walking. He had no idea I lived in the neighborhood. I'm walking my dog 3 days later, and there's a for sale sign. All right. That told me that I needed to change the approach. I need to go after rapport first and then shift the conversation into real estate as the rapport builds. Okay. Not sure who iPad is. iPad, are you hand dialing or using a dialer? So there's a benefit to both. The further, so are you hand dialing or using a dialer? A dialer usually scrambles numbers, which sounds not beneficial. I want someone to see my number multiple times. Like, especially if I have not left a voice message yet, I need them feeling that my call is important. If they see a different number four times, they might get 10 telemarketer scam, spam calls a day. Uh, I want them seeing the same number. Anybody that calls me to sell something, I promise you, if you call me to sell something, I'm not ever going to see your number again. You call, you're dialing through a list of thousands of people. You just move to the next number. I didn't answer, move to the next number. For me, I really need them by hand dialing. I need them to see my same number multiple times. Now, I am very cautious with my cell phone number. So here's a good um, rule of thumb for you guys to understand, and I live with the consequences of this. So number one, if you're making more than 50 dials in a day from a single number, it's not going to be very long before you get flagged as spam or potential spam. Why? The carriers say this person is making more calls than the typical person. They must be selling. So the carrier, even if you're not reported, the carrier will likely flag you as a spammer. I do not want that to happen with my cell phone. So I use voice over IP. Um, the next thing is if you're calling people three or four times, the same number three or four times in a day repetitively, and the carriers see that you're calling every number that you call, you're calling three or four times, eventually they're going to potentially flag you as spam. It's going to happen. So it's another reason I use voice over IP. If one gets flagged, I just get a new number. New number is typically $5 a month. So I drop one number and I pull a new number in. So I try not to use any individual number more than 50 times in a day. And then I just kind of deal with the consequences of calling people three, four times in a day. I'll just replace my number. I don't want to replace a cell phone number. I'd rather replace a voice over IP number. So we're talking systems like AirCall. So aircall.io, if anyone has a team and there's multiple people using, AirCall is one of my favorites. It's click to call. Ring Central is click to call. I like them. Line 2, Line, and the number 2 is a good system that I've used. Their numbers are about $19 a month. If one gets flagged as spam, you drop it and you pick another number up. Um, what do we use? Lou, Queenie, justcall.io is one that we use, our team uses. And you just have to watch those numbers and make sure that you're not flagged. A way to keep yourself from getting flagged is to make sure that any number that you're calling from isn't dialing more than 50 times in a day. Right. And if you guys do use a power dialer, great. Love it. I don't have a problem with power dialers. I don't power dial. I manual dial or click to call. Why? It's more methodical. I can also copy paste the decedent's address into tax records while I'm calling. It takes me about 20 extra seconds. I don't deep dive into research trying to figure out everyone's situation before I call, but I'll take 20 seconds, pop the decedent's address into the tax records or homes.com to see who owns it or Propelio or something like that. I'll pop it in. If there's no real estate owned, maybe I just don't call. But if I see that the real estate's still in the family's name or the decedent's name, I'm calling. And I take that 20 seconds that I'm copying and pasting a number to kind of do a basic level of research. All right. Sandy, what do you have?
Hey Bruce, thanks. So just out of curiosity, how do you know if you get flagged for spam? Is there a way to tell?
Well, the way that most people know, and this is not proactive, but the way that most people know is your answer rate goes from 12% to 1% consistently. And most people will dial for months going, nobody answers the phone. And then they find out months and months later that they've been flagged as a potential spammer and nobody answers that. For me, I'm manually gonna call a friend or myself, and see what it shows up as. So Verizon might categorize you as potential spam, while AT&T doesn't. And what are the other carriers? I don't really. There's three main carriers. So one may flag you as spam and another doesn't. So the biggest way to know is that your answer rates drop consistently. There are days when I'll get 30% of my calls to answer, and there's other days where that it just changes to 1% to answer. Just because you're having a high or a low doesn't mean you are or are not on the spam list. It could just be that day's trend. But what I'm talking about is the consistency. 3 or 4 days in a row where you're getting like 1 or 2% to answer, you got to check that number. I do it by calling myself or calling other people. So T-Mobile, AT&T, Verizon, call someone with those different numbers and see how it shows up. Um, there are also ways to register your phone numbers. I've never done this. There's going to be people on this call that probably have. If anyone has, tell us how. You can register your numbers with the carriers, and once you're registered, your likelihood of getting flagged is much lower. I've never done that. I just change numbers when I start getting flagged. Anything else, Sandy?
No, that's it. I guess as you were describing all that stuff in my head, I was thinking, oh, is there a database? Because, there's a list for everything.
Yep. Each carrier has their database,
Will
and you're gonna
have their own.
you're gonna want to go on there. It's been given to me. It just takes me too much
Is it
time. By the
public?
No, nope, it's not public.
Oh,
The databases probably are. Google would probably show you what the databases are, but they don't show the registered phone numbers that I know of. So there are ways to get registered with the carriers, and you probably won't get flagged as spam. But it's just more hassle than I've really wanted to do. Another thing, if you guys are using voice over IP numbers, there is a new rule from about a year and a half ago where you have to register the number with 10 DLC, the number 10 DLC. You register it, they will not let you text without being registered on those. So that's another reason that I don't do a ton of text messages is getting approved with a voice over IP to be able to text is not the easiest thing in the world. Our numbers are approved, but we had to submit each number 4, 5, 6 times to get them approved. It was not easy. So if I text, a lot of times I will use a cell phone, and I just keep it. I kind of limit the number of texts that I send. If I'm using voice over IP, I'm probably not texting very many people. All right. Good discussion, guys. Okay. Any other questions? What else do you guys have? Anyone kind of already following this that can speak to your results? Don't get quiet on me now. All right. So I am going to shift unless you guys bring some other topics up or want to talk a little bit more on this. I want to shift to what happens when you're ignored, or what other habits you want to build into your day. So we talked about, for those of you that maybe are not calling, start with 5 people in a day. So you don't have to try to eat the whole elephant right now if you're behind. Just get the habits going. What are some other habits that you guys like to implement into your business? And I'm going to start. So, other habits that I encourage you all to implement into your business. Content habits. Is anyone here creating content for your business? Do you have habits of creating content? So that's going to be one. If you've got a habit of creating content, give me a wave, raise your hand or wave at me. And what's it done for your business? So Tana, weekly LinkedIn. Are you able to unmute yourself and share what you mean?
Yes, that's just been a really easy content schedule for me to follow because we had talked about working on your SEO, so you start showing up in some of the pages. So I just really attacked LinkedIn because it indexes well and start doing my blogs weekly on LinkedIn. So
Hmm.
that's one that's a hard, I don't miss that one. So that one's been really good to keep on.
Yeah.
I like
Link.
doing videos, but the LinkedIn posts are so much easier. So
So a LinkedIn blog, and they do index incredibly well.
yeah.
Yep. And how do you pick your blog topics?
I have a whole list of them that I work on, but pretty much whatever when I do the Google searches, I'll pull my questions from there. Whatever questions I see pop up, and some of the search results, that's what I use for my, or if I'm trying to get them to a certain page on my website, I'll write a blog to get them to that page or that video.
Hmm. Great. So I think a lot of people underestimate the power of LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a resume. If people look you up, LinkedIn very frequently shows, and how your LinkedIn profile looks is going to dictate what happens. I have used this story for several years now. At least once every 2 months, I say this on a call. I prospected someone one day, and the guy was quite rude, very rude. Side note, rabbit trail, people that are rude very frequently aren't rude people. They're playing a character that has proven itself to get rid of pesky salespeople. So just because someone's rude to you doesn't mean that that's who they are. It's the character that they've learned how to play. I have a character when I'm cold called. I have a character when I'm out shopping and I want to be able to shop alone. Does it mean that I am that person? Does it mean that if you can break through that character that I'm gonna continue to be rude? No, I'm probably gonna warm up to you. Our people have characters, so that's the side trail. I called this guy and he was very rude to me. And I got off the phone after 45 seconds. A few minutes later, my phone rings and it's his number. And I was like, oh man, here goes. And I answered the phone and he said, hey, I am so sorry for being rude to you. He said, you have no idea how many calls I get. And he goes, but I went and looked your name up. And he said, I found your LinkedIn. He said, you're legitimate, aren't you? And I said, yeah, yeah. And he said, well, I like what I saw on your LinkedIn. I have 3 investment properties to sell. I'm probably going to sell my personal residence sometime in the next year or so, and most likely buy a new property. 5 deals out of someone, and I didn't close them all, so I'm not going to pretend to have closed them all, but I got some of them. 5 deals out of someone that blew me off abruptly and rudely, all because he went and looked me up. And there's a lot of people that are going to do that. A lot of people, they're skeptical. They don't know you. You've cold called, interrupted a day. And just because they brush you off or are rude doesn't mean that they're not checking you out. And you need to show up online. Another story. This was before I did LinkedIn. Um, I had radio ads that were running right when I first moved to this market. Every morning for 60 seconds during morning drive time, I would have one commercial, one 60-second commercial during morning drive time. And it wasn't working. For 4 months, it wasn't working. And I finally got a call, and I know radio works. I know I've proven it. I've seen how it works. I finally get a call 4 months later, and this lady goes, is this Bruce Hill? Yeah. Listen, I just want to tell you, I would never list my house with you, not even if you paid me. Why would you call to tell me that? Okay. And I said, why would you say that? And she said, well, I've been calling you for months trying to get you to list my house, and you haven't had the courtesy the decency to call me back. I've never heard your name before. I have no idea who you are. What number have you been calling? And she gave me the number that she'd been calling. And I looked it up, and it tied to another Bruce Hill real estate agent. And I realized right then, and this was long after I should have learned this lesson, I realized right then that I need to own my Google search for my name. You guys should all go Google your name. If you want, put the city that you're in or the county you're in next to it and see how you rank, see how you show, see if there's somebody else that owns that spot. If that person is nationwide, you need to own your name. You need to be visible. What I found out is I wasn't even the top real estate agent in my market with my name. If you Googled my name back then, and now I was new to the area, but if you Googled my name back then, every single link on page one of Google went to another Bruce Hill. And apparently that guy wasn't calling leads back. Okay. So, um, so it's very important that you guys have it. LinkedIn is one of the top ways to rank fast, is have a good built out LinkedIn profile. Do I use it for other things? Not so much, but it looks good. That's all you need. Now, if you're like Tayna and you're putting blogs on there, you index even more. And now all of a sudden, when people say how to open probate in my county and you have a blog on LinkedIn, your LinkedIn will pop. They're not even looking for you. They're just trying to figure out how to open probate, and your LinkedIn pops. All right. I don't know what your name is. It's showing up as iPad 4. What? That's a pretty cool name if that's your name. See if you can unmute yourself.
Okay. Yeah, sorry
There we
about that.
go.
I tried to change it a couple times already. My question is about prospecting attorneys on LinkedIn or letter writing. Do you pursue that? Do you advise that?
Yeah. So LinkedIn, I used to letter write, and I know several people who still letter write with moderate success. So I'm going to go back to the idea that every person that we interact with or prospect to has their own formula. Okay. What pisses one person off is going to be the thing that makes someone else love you, and vice versa. Um, I found that in writing letters to attorneys, it's a small percentage of the attorneys that I send a letter to that are going to engage with and call me back on that letter. But there is a percentage, and that person that calls me back on a letter that's an attorney probably ignored everything else that I was doing. But it's pretty small. LinkedIn. I used to have a pretty standard template of initial LinkedIn messages that I would send to an attorney, and it was short. It was short, just trying to get a little bit of engagement. I found back then that about 10% of the attorneys that I sent that message to would respond back, and we'd be able to enter some kind of dialogue. Not a huge percentage, but I got moderate success. For me, calling the attorney is by far the best way to go, but you have to approach it the right way. They cannot smell the request coming. Okay. A lot of people call the attorney and it's hey, I'm a probate specialist, I'm a certified probate expert, something like that, and I'm looking for an attorney that can send me their business. Okay. And you might not even say those words, but the attorney can read through the BS and know that that's what you're calling for. So you got to be very careful that that's not the smell that you're putting off. They can't smell the commission breath. All right. Um, so for me, calling attorneys is normally, hey, I'm a real estate agent in the area. I'm a real estate investor in the area, and I've had several clients over the past year or so that have asked me about estate plans, and even a few of them were going through a probate process. And I kind of tell this story, and I've realized that I just don't have a good attorney relationship, an attorney that I know that I could send these people to. So that's the story that I'm telling. Over the last year or so, I've had a couple of people. Now, I don't care if you're doing 50 probate deals a year. Downplay it. If you're doing no probate deals a year or no clients, upplay it a little bit, but don't overstate it. So a couple of people over the last year that were clients of mine were going through the process of either doing an estate plan, and one or two of them were even going through probate. All right, I'm looking for a good attorney that I could potentially send those people to. Are you guys currently open to accepting new business? Well, duh. Okay, Tayna, you told me a couple of weeks ago, there's Tayna. You told me a couple of weeks ago that you had one attorney that said, no, we've got all we can handle. How
That's it.
many said, yeah, we're taking business?
Everyone else. No one else denied. And I've called quite a few. I had to quit calling.
Yeah, you got too busy,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. If you approach it that way, they're going to be open. And then the next question after they say, yeah, we are still taking clients is, I don't want to automatically just send someone business that I don't know. Is there a chance I could stop by and meet you and see your practice for 15 minutes sometime in the next week? Is there a chance I could stop by and meet you and see your practice for 15 minutes sometime in the next week? You'll get a huge percentage that say yes. So is that to say no mail? No, do mail. Is that to say no LinkedIn? No, do LinkedIn. What it is to say is if you use that approach, you'll get in more doors by calling ahead and telling a story of a couple of probate or estate planning clients. Okay. Don't overstate it. For those of you that are doing 5 to 10 deals a month in probate, if you are, you're probably not here because you're most likely too busy. But if you're doing 5 to 10 deals a month in probate, don't tell them that. Definitely don't say, hey, I'm a probate specialist. That's kind of offensive to an attorney who has gone through law school and passed the bar and specialized in probate and estate planning. And this is coming from the guy that runs the Certified Probate Expert program. Do you guys use Certified Probate Expert um, on your marketing? Yes, please do. It's beneficial for everyone, but I'm not bragging about being a probate expert to the attorney who knows that I went through an online class, a good online class, but an online class when they passed the bar. Okay. So it's always a few clients of mine, and I need an attorney that I could point people to. Do you currently take clients like that? Well, of course. Yes, of course I take clients like that. I don't want to just send people to someone that I don't know. Can I swing by and meet you and see your practice sometime in the next week or two? Take 10, 15 minutes. You'll get a yes most of the time. And now you build that relationship out. If they're dodging you, send a LinkedIn, send a letter, but call first. Does that help?
Yeah, thank you. So
Uh,
in terms of the headline on LinkedIn, should we write certified probate specialist or not do that?
I wouldn't. Are you an investor or an agent?
Both.
Both. Okay. Yeah, I would just lead with your status as an agent, specializing in the estate and probate niche. So, specializing in the estate and the probate niche is certainly a way to do that. It's not trying to elevate yourself to the status now. Okay. If you want to put certified probate expert on logos and on like a photo, great, great. But I'm not gonna I'm not gonna overstate it if my business is attorney focused. If my business is personal representative and consumer focused, I'm putting it everywhere. If it's attorney focused, I'm kind of making it secondary.
Right. Okay.
Okay. And this has come from a number of attorneys. I use the certified probate expert designation on my mail to consumers. I talk to people on the phone about it. When I'm talking to vendors, I mention it. When I go for attorneys, I've had a number of attorneys that I've gotten to be good friends with, and I've asked them, and most of them go, "Oh yeah, yeah, you don't know what we know." Okay, and
Yeah.
it's just trying to like be like, "Hey, I'm the expert here," just rubs some of the attorneys the wrong way.
Right. Thank you.
Yep. Um, do you need to have a current client for the attorney? No, no. Um, you guys can get a client. The majority of probate attorneys are estate planning attorneys as well. So let me just kind of clarify that. In the um, in the attorney space, attorneys that focus on probate generally say we're wills and trusts. So the classes that they go through are wills and trusts. And so generally they're going to say focus. My practice is built on estates and probate, or estates and wills, or something like that. And that attorney generally wants estate planning pre-death and estate administration post-death. So estate administration is after someone's passed away and it's time to dissolve the estate. Estate planning, before someone's passed away, they're setting up an estate plan or a trust normally. So when I'm telling this story on the phone with an attorney, is I've had a few clients over the past year or two who were in the process of setting up an estate plan. Extremely believable. If you don't have clients or connections that you know that have looked at setting up an estate plan in the last year or two, your network is not strong enough. They don't need to have asked you for that to be true. If you know 50 people in your local area, I promise you a couple of them have looked at estate plans. All right. Whether they talk to you about it or not. Right. And then I go, and recently I've found a couple of folks in my network who were also going through probate. Also, unbelievably true. You've got an entire list of people going through probate. I'm looking for an attorney that might be interested in and working with me if I have those people. Are you interested in clients like that? Yes. All right. I'm not going to say, hey, I have someone in my car right now that's asking me about an estate plan. Oh, let me talk to him. I can't. My cell phone's breaking up. You don't overstate it, understate what you have. But I promise you, you have people in your network that need an estate plan. You meet them. If you guys end up doing co-marketing together, one of the things I like to do is interview that attorney, like on a Zoom, ask them some questions, and then send it to my network, my audience, my sphere of influence. And when I do that, I go, hey, if anyone here is interested in setting up an estate plan and avoiding probate, please reach out to me. And now I've manufactured referrals to the attorney that I just met. And that's what I'm looking to do, is manufacture referrals to the attorney. They'll appreciate you. Many times, if you handle the relationship right way, it's going to start coming back to you soon. All right. Who else? Anybody else? Experiences? Has anyone done this? Video call with the attorney. Ursel, yeah, video call with the attorney to use in marketing. Absolutely. The goal, if you're interviewing vendors, not just attorneys, but vendors, estate sale companies, clean out crews, contractors, attorneys for sure, financial planners, accountants. The first goal that I have when I interview my vendors is to rank higher than they do when somebody Googles their name. You know, I told you about Googling my own name, and I wasn't even ranked on the first page of Google when I Googled my name. Somebody else was. Well, most of our vendors, they're not focused on marketing themselves. They're busy doing the same things we're doing, and that's just managing their day to day in their business. They get distracted, they have procrastination. So what I want my sites, my blogs, my videos to rank higher under their name than theirs do. Not so that I can take their business, but so that I start to be seen with their business. So if someone is referred by a friend to Joe Blow, the attorney, and that person says, I'm going to go look Joe Blow up, I want two or three of my videos and potentially a blog to show up first. And now I'm seen side by side with the attorney, endorsing the CPA, endorsing the accountant, the contractor, whoever I've interviewed. So I want to do content with them. If somebody goes, and I haven't gotten this far, but if somebody goes and Googles the new restaurant in town, I want my stuff to show up first. So any relationship that I have that I'm working on developing, I would like to be able to interview them and talk to them, turn it into a blog, turn it into a few videos, not just one, but a few, and get them ranking really high, especially if that person's name or business name is Googled. So if that attorney's business name is Googled or their personal name is Googled, I want to be seen first with them. I'm not trying to say, hey, come to me because I'll handle your probate. Don't go to them. I'm promoting them. And then you guys also need to make sure that you have calls to action in your content. So if you're producing content and it's just for the sake of having content without a call to action, you're missing you're missing the boat. And I've learned this the hard way through Probate Mastery. I put tons of content out. This is recorded, it goes on YouTube, a lot of stuff. And I've failed for years to tell people in the video what they can do if they want to learn more. And I've started to record these like 20-second inserts that get cut into my video that says, hey, if you would like to learn how to add probate into your business, I want you to go to this free class, da 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 da, and just put it in. And that's the same thing that you guys are going to do with your content videos, is somewhere in that video, either at the end if it's short video, or in the first third of the video if it's longer, and say, hey, if you're getting value out of this and you want my probate survival guide, and I just made that up, I want you to go to this website and put your address in and I'll send you the box. Something like that. And you guys come up with your own hooks and freebies that you're sending out, but tell people what to do to engage with you. Really, really important. Also with attorneys, you're interviewing them. You probably have 7 or 8 different questions that you're asking and different topics. You've got one full video with that interview. Separate each question and answer out into its own video. So one 30-minute Zoom session could turn into 9 videos for you. One big one, a couple of small ones. You could even get a few shorts out of it if you know how to pick your content right. That's what I'm trying to do. You could even get a blog out of it. So take one single session with a good attorney or one single session with a good vendor, and you can own page 1 on Google very easily. All right. We are coming up to the end of our time. If I don't have any other questions, I am going to go into my little commercial I just told you about. If you are here and you're brand new and you are not a certified probate expert, and remember, I do use certified probate expert with my general audience. If you're not a certified probate expert, probate and estate business is something that you want to get business from. Go to probatemastery.com, and either, if you want to dip your toes in the water, sign up for the free probate foundations class. We do it every other week, probably every week soon. We're doing one tomorrow at 12:30 Eastern time. So probate foundations is free class. It's for those that are just dipping their toe in the water. If you're already in Probate Mastery getting the certification course, you guys don't need to come to that. It's basic, it's preliminary, but it is a good step to getting into probate. If you want to just get certified and you want what's currently over 30 hours of on-demand content along with live classes almost every week, you might want to just sign up for Probate Mastery. So Probate Mastery is the full-blown business in a box system. We're going to teach you everything from prospecting to how to run appointments to what kind of offers to make to where to get your leads to how to market to your cold leads, how to market to your warm leads, how to create content, how to build a team. The list goes on and on. It's comprehensive. So if you're looking for a kind of the full business system, get Probate Mastery. And I would do it this month. I don't know when the price of Probate Mastery is going to go up. It's going to be pretty soon, probably within a month or so. And the reason it's going up is every week we're adding into the Probate Mastery 2.0 curriculum. So it's just going to be even bigger. Once that's done, we're going to change the pricing a little bit. So right now it's $500. It'll probably be in the $1,000 range once it's all said and done. So get it now. You get everything, including the live classes and including lifetime access today. Okay. And I don't want to promise that a price is going to $1,000. It might be a little more, might be a little less. I'm just not sure yet. I'm in the process of just getting more classes out and more training out before I think about what we're going to do with prices. I do know it'll go up a little bit though. All right. Greatly appreciate you guys. If you've never been here before, come back every Tuesday, We're here for you guys. I see a lot of familiar faces that come back over and over again. Come back with your questions. If you're new and want to dip your toes in the water, jump in to Probate Foundations tomorrow. You can do that on the Probate Mastery site, probatemastery.com. Up at the top of the page, there's a little banner that says that promotes Probate Foundations. So I'd love to see you guys there. Thanks so much, everybody. See you soon.